Okay, happy Friday. Good afternoon. Let's get a couple of our windows straightened out over here. And then we can get the show on the road, as they say. Got text for a minute here. Looks like I have got sound. OBS at least. I did YouTube one. Okay, that one shows good as well. All right, I think we are good to go. Let me put this back. How's it going, C. Grover? Good afternoon. So welcome, everyone. This is the Deep Dive program. My name is Tim. I go by Foamy Guy on GitHub and Discord. During the Deep Dive program, which is a weekly live stream program where we are working on CircuitPython stuff, typically we are going to be working either on like the CircuitPython core or libraries or infrastructure or sometimes even projects that use all of the above. It just kind of depends from week to week what's going on, but the kind of common theme that brings it together every week is we're always working on something related to CircuitPython. If you are brand new, though, and you don't know really what I'm talking about, or you're catching this in the future and you have never heard of CircuitPython before, or you don't know what it is, you can learn more at the main website for the project, which is circuitpython.org. Basically, though, CircuitPython is an implementation of Python that runs on some tiny computers that are called microcontrollers. And when you run CircuitPython on these devices, it allows you to plug them into your computer. They will show up typically like a USB thumb drive. There will be a Python code file on there, and you can edit that file and save it. And then the microcontroller, the computer that is on these little devices, will execute that Python code for you. That's kind of like the super high level version of what we are messing with here. In particular, tonight we are going to be taking a look at this device, the Matrix Portal M4. However, it is worth noting the device by itself is not so special. Really, what is special about it is that it can plug into a LED matrix. Oops, Matrix Portax. That's not what we want. Matrix Portal. It can plug into an LED matrix, which is a, I think 64 by 32 maybe, is the number of pixels in there, of RGB LEDs. And then you can draw on it as though it were a display. So that's the device we're looking at tonight. There are, however, loads and loads of different devices that support CircuitPython, 416 devices at last count. This is only one of them. It's important to note they all come in different shapes and sizes and capabilities. So the one that we're using right now is well suited to this LED matrix RGB thing. There are, of course, other ones, though, that do other things, either draw on regular displays or e-ink displays, or maybe don't even have displays at all, but instead hook up with other different kinds of hardware. If you want to learn more, like I said, circuitpython.org, that's a good place to head. Another good place would be to join us over on the Discord, which is linked down below, adafru.it/discord. On that Discord, there is a CircuitPython dev channel, as well as a help with CircuitPython channel, and also a bunch of other sort of maker electronics programming related channels as well. So if you want to get involved or just chat about any of that stuff, head over to there. CircuitPython is an open source project. It's free to use. It's free to run it on your own microcontrollers. It's even free to port it to run on your own microcontrollers. Even if you're a third-party company that has made your own hardware, you can add CircuitPython support for that hardware. You don't have to pay anyone. It is all open sourced, and it is all funded primarily by Adafruit for the CircuitPython project. They are paying the team of folks who work on the project full-time. They're paying other folks like me who work on the project part-time, And that is kind of what is keeping the CircuitPython project driving forward, of course, because without people working on it, then there is not much of a project, and they are heavily encouraging the people who are working on it by paying them great wages to do so. So thank you, of course, to Adafruit, and then thank you to anybody who wants to purchase hardware from Adafruit, because that is helping support CircuitPython as well, of course. You purchase hardware from them, they keep the lights and the factory running, and then they keep having the ability to support CircuitPython by paying the developers. The main goal that I am trying to do today with this matrix portal is just test some changes in the ESP32 SPI library, which is the module that is used in order for this matrix portal device to connect to the Wi-Fi. This device has the capability to connect to a Wi-Fi network and then fetch data from the internet, for instance, or some other source on the network. The library that it uses to do that is this ESP32 SPI. There is some work in progress to change up that library a little bit to rearrange the API for the socket that is inside of it. I have tested this across a bunch of different things, but it did occur to me the other day, one of the things that I have not tested at all yet is the matrix portal. So I figured we probably should do that before this one ends up getting merged, because we definitely want to make sure that the matrix portal is going to be working. Working on AIO mini MQTT session timeout issue today whilst watching the deep dive, getting close to a solution, hopefully. Yep, fingers crossed here for you as well on that one. Did a little bit of mini MQTT testing on this stuff as well, but not much with the timeout. Actually, worth noting, there is this other PR. I don't know if you've taken a look at this one or not. It might be worth trying this version from the PR, though, if you haven't. This one was changing the behavior of timeout a little bit to be more like how I expected it to work from the beginning. But I think it used to be a bit different. So if you do end up stuck, that might be one thing to try, is that open PR over there. Okay, so I'm just going to grab a couple of Learn projects that use the matrix portal and fetch stuff from the internet. That way we can test the ESP32 SPI module. We also should probably update the matrix portal. I have no idea what version is on it. Most likely not anything particularly new, I'm going to guess. Oh, actually, maybe I updated it before this, right? I got the old Bandmade logo going on there a couple weeks back before I went on the concert. Went to the concert, I should say, over the weekend. Let's check in on the version of CircuitPython. .800 beta, and it's a dirty build. I don't know what I would have made a custom build with. Okay, yeah, let's definitely update that. How's it going, Isaac? Good afternoon from the Pacific time zone, I think is what you're saying there. Portal. There was just a new RC the other day, so we'll grab that. It's over to bootloader mode. I think it's quite bright. It's away. That's going to put us into bootloader mode. Try to pull this wire just a bit out of the way. Okay. That. Okay. A newer version here now, 820 RC1. And I would suspect that the matrix portal has got ESP32 SPI frozen in. Let's confirm that, because if that is the case, it changes where we will need to paste our library in order to test it. Portal M4. Yeah. Requests, portal base, ESP32 spy. You know, it might be interesting to make a build with an updated version of the library. Might be a good exercise as well. To start with, though, I'll just paste it on. We are in compatible socket, so that is the branch with these changes. And so ordinarily, when we would want to load a library on a device, we would be pasting it inside the lib directory. In fact, if we look in here, we can see we already have ESP32 spy and portal base and requests, all of which were listed in the frozen libraries, meaning that none of these ones that are inside the lib folder, of those three specifically, are actually doing anything. Because when they are frozen in, they will take precedent over the lib folder, meaning that these ones in the lib folder won't actually get used. Instead, the ones that are frozen in will. So we can actually just delete those right now, and that's going to also save some space. And then I'm going to grab that. We are going to put it in the root instead of the lib folder, which is how we get it to use our modified one instead of the frozen in one. Paste it in the root. We also want requests, which is on this branch, which is also the one that goes along with this change. Requests.py. I mean, we could take MPY, but I don't know when I compiled it or what version is in it, so that as well. Requests, okay. What was that? That was something else. Let's take that and go bandmade logo scroller. And CodePy, MP that. That one like there, okay. Okay, we'll start with this. Matrix Portal new guide scroller. I think it puts the number of total guides and then I think the name of the most recent one or something like that. It makes a nice thing to test with because it grabs data from the internet. You know, it's interesting, the lib folder here does show those things. I wonder if we could make the screenshotter smart enough to know what's frozen in. I guess the crux of it, though, is that the project bundler also probably does not know that those things don't need to be inside lib folder. Seeing we find the same thing here, actually. Yeah. IBM mono. Zipped IBM mono. Oh, that's interesting. I wonder why it's zipped. We probably want that to be unzipped. Does it use that? Add font? Uncompress? If there was an unzipped copy of that font file in the repo, it would make it so that the font will appear correctly on the screenshot here. I almost called this a spreadsheet. Hold on, I'll be back. Okay. Trying to figure out what the cat's doing. Heard some questionable sounds, but it was actually just a toy. I think. Yeah. So it's expecting it to be unzipped and in the root. If it were in the repo that way, it would make the screenshot correct. It would also make it to where you'd be able to just copy paste this right on in without having to change anything. Which is how a lot of the guides work. Oh, is that the same thing? Hey, look, that's the same thing. I already have this. That's all right, let's overwrite it. Sure. Patron. Mista, what IDE is that noob here? Yep, totally correct. This is inside of PyCharm. Technically, PyCharm, I think the Pro one, whatever they call it, I'm not sure. They have a free PyCharm that you can use if you are a student or if you're working on open source stuff. I think they call that one Community Edition, but I do have the paid PyCharm version. And I do like it quite a bit. There are a few things here and there that irk me about it from time to time, definitely. It's not without faults completely, but I definitely do enjoy it as a IDE overall. Okay. I already have settings. Our time zone. Put that back up here. Here we go. They're overlapping a little tiny bit. I don't know if that was intentional or not. Really, it's the ascenders only. Oh. I think probably my PC wrote a file and it caused it to reset. So it takes it a second to fetch. Oh, interesting. Different colors each time. Or is it rainbowy? No. Changing? No. Saying yellow. Oh, different. Okay, each project gets a different color, it looks like. Okay. Nice. 2780. So what was it when this was made? 2325. So 400 and 55, 455-ish have been created since this. Does it let you write directly to the board? The short and easy answer is yes, it does. The longer and a little bit more complex answer is that it is best if you do some setup first. You can write directly to the board straight out of the gate, but there are some things that make it less convenient. This page right here, which I'll put in the... I will put in the chat. I don't know what I just did to the place. How I... Oh, this is not... Wait, what? Doesn't have its own page. These don't work right now. It's not changing the URL. Whoa, what is going on? Okay, hold on. I don't know what's going on. Here we go. Put this in the chat. This page has the exact setup that I did inside my PyCharm, which basically boils down to turn off autosave and add the directory where the thumb drives spawn as a content root inside PyCharm so that you can see the thumb drives when they show up, which are, in our case, actually the microcontrollers. Do they overlap? No, they don't. We want to nudge the font slightly. I don't know why it is different now, but it's looking like our ascenders on our scrolling text is actually overlapping our numbers. Like basically 2 pixels, it looks like. Maybe 3, but I think 2. Oh, it's 3 in at least one spot. It's mostly 2, but there is like a tiny bit of 3 somewhere. What was that on, I wonder? What was the tallest one? It's in green, I think. Oh, the eye, that's what it is. It's the dot on the eye. Interesting. The lowercase I is actually taller than the uppercase I. A2C, yeah. Huh. That's interesting. The top row of dots on the lowercase i's dot is 1 pixel higher than the crossbar on the top of the uppercase I. So like in here. Let's nudge that up some. Oh, it's a little tricky, isn't it? Fixed position. I don't know which one's which. Well, okay. This one must be the scrolling text. Because it's at display height over 2 minus 4. Which means it would be somewhere near the halfway point. Maybe is that might actually be that. Backwards, actually. Height would be something like, I think 32 over 2, 16 minus 4 gets you to 12. Yeah, I'm thinking that's the number, actually. So then this is 25, which would put it further down. Yeah. So what if we just back this one up like more. 3 more. 4 more. Because we technically have 3 pixels of overlap. And truthfully, what we really want is 1 pixel of in between. We can. Why did it not go this time? I saved this, but it didn't actually restart. I'm not sure. Top line's red, too low. Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna try to scoot that one up, and then we may have to scoot the bottom line down just a scotch. Not really programmed in forever, only tinkered with our stuff as necessary. Nice. Yeah, CircuitPython is a little bit easier typically than Arduino, but there is some stuff that you can't do. It does not get changed at all. I didn't save because that's still on 4. Is it on 4? Started on 4. I want 4 more, truthfully. There we go. Now we have 1 pixel in between. We have, most of the time we have 2, but when the on the tallest spot, which appears to be the lowercase I, we have 1. And it does appear to be working as well. We should be using the frozen in ones, or vice versa. We should be using the ones we pasted rather than the frozen in ones. Oops. Do it this way, we can theoretically be even more super duper sure that we're not using frozen in ones. How's fancy LED parity to fast LED? I do not know the answer to that, sorry. I do I play with LEDs a little bit, but nothing where I'm like super duper pushing the limits of what they can do. I would say for LEDs, the best place I know of to get answers to all kinds of stuff related is inside this guide here, Uber, Adafruit NeoPixel's Uber guide. Has all kinds of stuff about LEDs. I don't know for sure if it talks about fancy LED or fast LED though, but that's the biggest cache of information that I'm aware of related to that kind of stuff. Okay. Bootloader. Kind of working my way through various guides. Nice. Welcome to the world of CircuitPython. Hope you have fun. Okay. I don't know if it's gonna fail or like it might not be able to import now. I'm not sure. Yeah, it looks like it's not able to import. Oh, well, and also, yeah, I mean, Portal Base in specific, I also did not paste a copy of, so that would make sense that we actually just don't even have it whatsoever. This is probably going to put back ESP32 spy and requests, maybe? The lib? I will say, here's one thing that does happen sometimes with PyCharm, is it does sometimes get out of sync from the disk, and you have to reload like this manually. I've noticed it doing that. It's back, we can delete that. Reallocation failed. Probably our issue now is that because we're not using frozen in ones, it's going to take more RAM in some cases because we also did not use MPY copy of the library and instead used the Python, the plain text Python code. It's on line 9. It's just an import still. Dang. Hmm. Maybe if we MPYify the ESP spy library, we might have enough. Smaller font might help as well, truthfully. $31. Make it any farther? Still line 9. 18. It did make it one extra layer. We could try requests as well, I suppose. There's one here. Is there any chance that... This command will build the MPY files. Read some stuff first. If that's the right prefix. Fingers crossed. Hopefully we get enough this time. Here we go. Okay. And now we know for sure we're using the modified ones. Let's open learn. Oh, it's here somewhere. We can submit a PR with that tweak on the size, or the location, I should say. It's not that big a deal, but it'll be nice if anybody's using this in the future. New branch, check out B. The new branch is going to be called Learn Guide. What was the name of the actual project? Matrix Portal New Guide. Matrix Portal Guide Count. Oh. Text pause. Main. No track. Find the folder that it's in, which is going to be called Matrix Portal Learn Stats. I'll leave that zipped for now, I guess. I don't want to change too much, but I think it'd be nice if that were unzipped as well. It's okay. We just did an 8. Okay. Seems to be working good though, as far as the actual functionality with the network. I will try this one as well, which I think fetches time from the network. Yeah. Have fonts Arial. Wrong one. Yeah. I want to keep a copy of that. I mean, it's much just stock from the guide. We don't need to mess with it. Especially we already committed PR for the change. Okay, it wants BMPs. Pumpkin. Time for America. Halloween. Not sure. Let it run through its whole thing here and see what all it's gonna do. Oh, it's reset again. Stopped by auto reload. If it keeps doing this too much, I might turn auto reload off. I think sometimes my computer is writing some like meta files stuff and it's causing it to reboot. Time to reply. Ghost. Halloween. Getting text with hours, minutes. I don't actually see the hours. Oh, until Halloween. Okay, we're getting Halloween. Actually see any countdown or anything. Miss it maybe? Until Halloween. That looks the same. Oh, 8 hours. That part we missed. 8 minutes. Maybe it's because we're more than a day? Take a look at the code. Walk through here, figure out what's going on. Or is there a walkthrough? Okay, let's see here. Okay, well, for one thing, maybe it's in the future or whatever. Maybe it's in the past rather, and therefore that could be. That could be why it was blank on all those things. It said, yeah, here we go. Now it says with. We had a bunch of these with, and then it was blank. $17 o'clock, which is actually coming up. 21 minutes. Days got cut off a little bit, but I think that's because it's 3 digits. Probably not made to bust it out quite so early in the year. Minutes. Nice. Okay, that seems to be working. Let's see if we can get maybe one more that fetches a little bit more data. I don't know for sure if there is something, but let's take a look. Moon phase is fetching some kind of data from somewhere, I think. How much of it? Interesting. Moon data. Yeah, weather, latitude, longitude. Let's see what else there is. It doesn't look like it's like downloading. If there's anything that downloads a picture, that would be. Data, that text, or IO feeds probably. This has an update delay. It pulls data. IO feed. Portal.get IO feed. Guess this probably went through requests then. I'd probably have to nuke all of my Adafruit IO. Feeds. Make 4. Now we're out of matrix portals. Okay. Rolling. Quote come from. Adafruit quote server? I didn't see. Also seems like Adafruit IO. Sign quotes dot sign text dot sign color. Updating from Adafruit IO set text. Get the quotes feed. Add at least one quote. Does it choose random ones? Or always give you the latest one? Random. I don't necessarily want to set up a bunch of feeds. If this is pulling anything from the network. This, quality weather matrix. Need a token for this? Yeah. Open weather token? I don't know if I have that. Let's see, 1 second. 2. Alright, let's try this one. Stuff already exists. PDF. Oh, we ran out of memory. Fonts does it use? Arial 12, 14, and 16. Is it using all 3? Glyphs, line 77. Graphics 100. Medium font. I mean, we could try not doing load glyphs, but I don't know that it will make a difference. Unless we're gonna use every single one of these characters, doing load glyphs like this is basically just eating a little bit of extra memory as a trade-off for time. But we could get the same speed up if we figure out what characters we're actually using. Yeah. I'd probably just go without this. Maybe numbers, I guess, might be helpful, because you definitely have the numbers there, but as far as everything it's going to use in the thing here, you could try to write out all the letters that are important, but the truth is, like, it's going to save you a few, like a fraction of a second the first time it happens. It will go a fraction of a second faster once it gets down to here. But really, you're just trading the time. Like, it's taking time here instead of down here somewhere whenever the display gets refreshed. This one called weather, matrix portal weather. Their display matrix. W's. Does glyphs have any? You don't. I mean, you don't even necessarily need to do this one either. Works. Here and it. Browser's open now. Let's see, attempting this project. Okay. Cool. I do have a custom build though, huh? We removed those built-ins. wonder if it has that problem on the stock image. Let's try the stock image, I guess. Maybe it wouldn't be worth changing if it does work on the stock one. And if it's like only not working because I unfroze those things and then copied them on, maybe on me for doing it that way. I do think in general though, load glyphs like oftentimes doesn't end up necessarily being worth the trade-off. Well, it would have to, let's see, we'd have to put that back some. In this one. Yeah, maybe that one's not worth changing. This would put us back to frozen in versions. Okay. Let's not have that problem. So the other thing though that I kind of want to try is what if we freeze in the new version of these? To the best of my knowledge, I think they both get smaller, so we should be getting more RAM, not less, to use, I think, but it's definitely worth a try. For to do that, we're gonna go frozen. Check out that, and then back to here to requests. One, 3, 5. Pretty sure this would now make a build that has our custom versions inside of it. It might be nice to have like some that. Check what's on socket. Okay, here we go. This will let us see, this will let us know if we have the updated version. The updated version does not have read line and does not have available. It will be underscore available, and then I think read line's gone altogether, but I'm not sure. Maybe read also. So we'll be able to check it after. I was thinking maybe we could modify the library, but we don't need to. The library further. In our case, it's already modified. Now we know what to look for to see which one we have. Press it. Frames drop 0.1%. Boy, that one, oh, okay, we're not just MPY crossing still. It takes a minute. Total for. It's just packing stuff in. I did do a clean as well. It takes longer after you do that. Go. Bootloader. And nice. Yeah. See, we have underscore available, and we do not have read line or read. So that is definitely the new version. So let's let it run and see if we get the memory error. This would tell us if it was an old version, new version sort of thing. I believe the new version should use less since we removed stuff, but sometimes memory is weird. Set to metric. Not sure what jumper it's talking about. I don't think it was it displaying in metric? Oh yeah, I guess so. Nice. Okay. Yeah, so that one's not really necessary. Wonder what's the jumper? How do I change it to Fahrenheit? Okay. I probably spelled it wrong. I don't know how to spell it. E12. E12. Is that like nature sport? see a D11. 12. Oh. We will be using button down. If it has button down and button up, if either is pressed, essentially. Yeah. Oh no, well, we check either, but one of them means one thing and the other one means the other thing. We also don't necessarily know from here which one of these is metric and which one's Fahrenheit. We have is metric, so I guess probably one is metric. So if we can press the up button, should set this value down to 0, which should make is metric false. You know what's weird is that this gets is metric here set to the value that it finds here, which we know is going to be either a number, either a 0 or a 1, but then here we set it to false, which is a Boolean. I guess 0 and 1 are pretty close to Booleans, though. So is this only, this is when it boots up then, basically? Okay, so if we hold the up button and press reset at the same time, I think it should go to Fahrenheit mode. It's kind of hard to do for my fingers, but let's see, I think we got it. Once Celsius, though. I guess I probably didn't hold it long enough because we hadn't really made it into the code file yet. So let me try to like hold this down longer. I can really not do it without hand here. Definitely should be running by now, but I guess I still don't know where. It really looks so close at where this is at in the code, if it's before or after loading. So I'll hold this down for a bit longer. There we go. Got the Fahrenheit going. Okay. I am thinking we're looking pretty good there. That is essentially really all I wanted to do, was just grab a handful of the Matrix Portal projects and make sure that we were not randomly breaking them with the either of the changes, really. Either the change in requests to remove backwards compatibility or the change in ESP32 SPI to remove the wonky version of the socket API. So far, it's looking pretty good, though. I think next I'm going to look at HTTP server. I had in mind some types over on display button. I'm actually going to do this, though, and sticking with the kind of web stuff. So this is over on HTTP server library. This is not going to be using the same device. ESP32 SPI cannot use this library, it turns out. So we'll test on a different device, but I saw this came through and got marked as ready to go. And I think we saw Michael in the chat earlier. I definitely appreciate all the hard work Michael has done on the request library. So why don't we do this one? Take a quick look at it here. For this one, I'll test on ESP32 S3. Oh, was I actually using a different wire the whole time? Hold on 1 second. It's a long one. two different, well, I have more than two different USB cables, but at least two different USB cables. Oh, we also just killed the camera feed. Okay. This one I saw one thing we want to do is test the timing, I think. What all is in this? It says added form data class and request.form data for post body using application URL form encoded, which is like default, I think, if you have a form in your HTML with no file in it. You have a file, I think maybe it goes to this one. Explain also. New example. Server headers. Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah. Server dot headers for headers that are sent with every response without the need for explicitly adding them in the constructor. The constructor or the handler function? Or if that means the constructor. I don't think I did a server at all that had any kind of header responses anyway, though, so I don't think I knew how it used to be. Updated doc strings more verbose, fixed and chunked. Sending empty chunk was breaking the functionality because it ended the response prematurely. Not sure how to test that. I don't know how to send an empty chunk. Updated docs, refactor, unified query params, and form data to use iField storage for shared functionality. Functionality? It's not even a word. Functionality. If possible, please test the impact of the changes on the processing speed. In theory, there should not be much difference or overhead, but on my testing, I noticed a large range, 80 to 500 milliseconds, might be caused by the Wi-Fi. So let's just grab us do some little timing tests here. Let's grab a little simple test, auto. And wait, what is manual? No, let's do start and poll, actually. This way we can have timing around our poll function. Does poll return true if it does something? It might be kind of cool if poll could have like a did affect something versus did not affect something. What's this? Oh, right, I was trying to test this yesterday, but it turned out that it does not work on this device. Okay, that's fine. Grab this. We'll want the stock one to start with, which I probably have, but I also don't know for certain. We somehow don't have this. That's weird. Stock one of this. Problem is, though, it's going to be why. Conversion. Inside server.poll. Does it return anything? No. No. Either raises an error or it returns nothing. Okay. I guess we pretty much just have to check from the client side then. I was thinking, I mean, like, we could still do it, I suppose. We could take a timestamp here and then take a timestamp afterwards and then print the difference. It would work, I guess, but the problem is it's going to spam over and over and over and over, and it's going to make it basically impossible to tell which ones were from, like, which ones were from iterations that actually returned a response or not. I think this will spam really fast. Yeah. Could do this, and then it will print inside base immediately before took. So then maybe we can use that to find the ones. The other thing, I guess we could add a filter like if it's small enough, then ignore it. But I also don't know how big we're expecting the other ones to be. So we need to hit the IP, which I don't know. And it's way back up here, and it's probably gone. No, actually, cool. 227. I could use this port 80 by default. Here we go. Okay, okay. These are file handlers, right? Yeah. Different files. They're not actually. Oh, we got a 404 on Blinka. It's probably trying to load a file that doesn't exist. There we go. Inside base. So, yeah, those are taking about point 0.1. We could now do something like if after minus before greater than 0.09. Only print it if it's big enough. That should reduce the spamming. However, it will also make it I'll be back in 1 second. It will also make it so that if it happened to go faster than this, we're no longer going to get the printout from it, which... There we go, yeah, much less. Fresh, there we go. Okay, we pretty much got 0.10 for the base and for Blinka, and I guess it gave up on favicon because it doesn't seem to have requested it this time. I'll be back in 1 second. Okay. What about from the... Well, let's fix the file also. Oh, does it not have Blinka built in? Or maybe I did that. Maybe it's not actually part of turns index. There's not actually an index, though. Okay, one thing we should do maybe is have an index file in here. Could be this one. Looks like it is pretty much this one, truthfully. So maybe it's just renamed slightly. Do I have that on my device? Is it inside? Yeah, so static. Oh, okay. Yeah. Never mind. This was my test. This was something different. We can grab home. It should probably match though. Home HTML. Inside of the Python file too. That way it will run. Whoops. Oh, I think that's valid for HTML. I don't know how it actually wants it. I guess, I mean, it was passing. Does that work? What does that do? Oh, interesting. We got a bunch of random iterations that were over the time limit there. I wonder why. Yeah. Oh. For one thing, I took those out, so let's put that back. They show up there. What about if we do HTML comment them? Now they're not there, but does pre-commit complain if we do it that way? We have to actually have the repo open. I don't yet. Search. That example. GHPR. It's still just this one though, right? Really, I guess we could go back to remote-v git ph. What is it? Repo set default. Repo set Adafruit. Let's go to main. Just this and then clearn. Combination of clear and clean. Clearn. Run pre-commit. Reuse past. We are good there. Okay. Back to where I was before I a little squirrel chasing a car there. Let's see, what was the timing on this? Uh, 120 milliseconds total. $213 total. What would be kind of nice is if we had a code that could just run maybe in a for loop or something and take like 10 readings for us. I have HTTP. We have loop get requests even. Look at that. That's pretty much what I want. This one's just going forever though. say get 10 times. And then let's say for I in range 10, that stuff is in there. We would like to do this differently though. We want before equals that. After equals now again that, and then we will say, can you do that in CPython? I don't know if I can do that. Or time dot mono. Oh, yeah, that should be fine. Or an after, and then let's just print as now I status code. Let's also put took after minus before. And we could get rid of the sleep. Or at least maybe make it lower? I don't know. This will run through 10 times, make the get request 10 times. Oh, we don't want random though. We'll make the get request 10 times. It will print out how long it took for each one. Okay, so from our script here, we ended up with the first one was the fastest at about 0.2 of a second. All the rest of them were about just a hair over 3, which is a little bit slower than we saw in the browser. But there's going to be some variance as well, because obviously this one was super insanely fast, and then we got a bunch of faster ones here, actually. In fact, our average here was quite a bit lower. Let's do the average at the end. Results equals list. Results, pull out append. After minus before. Now we would say print average. Is there like a one-liner to sum? Does that work? Never used that before, I don't think. Results divided by the length of results. Average 0.224. I'm out of coffee. Okay, we're averaging probably, it looks like around a quarter second for most of these. About 0.25-ish. A little more, a little less, but right around there. Less that time. And then we'll switch to the PR version of the library. So, and go back down to take that, delete it, and then we can go to HTTP server, HPR list, GHPR checkout, 58. Copy the library here. That into here. And then rerun this. Six for the average. 8 for the average. I don't know. We haven't seen any sub. We haven't seen any where the average was sub 0.25. Or we're on the nose there, but we saw like a 2-1, a couple 2-4s. I don't know though. I mean, it's pretty random, and the variance, like, there's a 2-0 in fact, and we're on the new version, so I don't know. I think everything we're seeing, there's a 2-3. I think everything we're seeing is within kind of a what you call it? What's the term I'm trying to think of? Like error correct? That's not the 1.6. Wow. That is so fast to serve a file over the wireless network. Literally sending ones and zeros through the air at 1/20th of a second to send an entire HTML file. Insane. I don't know, I'm drawing a blank, but we're within the random variance, basically, I think. Like, maybe it's a hair faster, maybe it's a hair slower. Either way, unless you're, like, doing some hyper specific measurements and taking a whole lot of samples, you're probably not going to really tease out an answer one way or another. To me, it looks pretty darn close to the same. One thing we could do maybe is let's just make sure we haven't gone and made a silly here. Let's do look for a change in the code and just like triple check the code that's on our device is the new version. I would love to be able to tell you that I have never accidentally tested something different than what I thought I was testing. I definitely have. What is a change to look for? Inside of init, it will import query params and form data. The wrong place. $54. Yeah, there it is. Okay, we're definitely on the new one. Yeah, I think we're pretty much the same. Let's try the new example. So there's a new one for submitting post. Probably this. New file, yeah, form data. Oh, interesting. This one has this HTML in the Python code. /form. Okay, so we're gonna, when we get to this, we're gonna load it up in our browser with /form instead of the root. It's not using poll, so we can't do this one. That's fine though. This value you used before posted value. Oh, I see. That pass pilot? It might be mad just because it doesn't get set to none. Okay. Yeah, I'm a little surprised it doesn't fail pilot, but we must not have that specific check or whatever. Like if you wanted, if it was actually complaining about it, I think it would just be like, we put a none here and then this will no longer be. Okay, we already have this. I do have auto reload off, so I will start. Are still on port 80, but this time we are on /form. stuff than I was expecting. What all do we do here? So we have 3 links which are on buttons. Just add get request arguments. Okay. Then action post. They look like once it's rendered though. Post type name is something. So basically we could click one of the top buttons, which is gonna set a form type up here. And at the same time, it gets substituted into here because it gets put in with encode type, and then it must do format right when it calls. Yeah, here we go. Format. I've never seen this version of format before. Interesting. So you can go format, you can give it named variables. Huh. It's kind of cool. Okay. So if we submit something, it'll get put into an H3 and stuck onto the page as well. The request object has no data. We kill it before or after we posted. 50 has no data, request.data. Get attribute data. Oops. Yeah. Be self data. Request class somewhere in here will be request class. Data. Body form data? It's supposed to be form data instead of data. I'm gonna guess that's probably data. I have to restart it because I have auto reload off. We have to restart it and then stop pressing Control C. Turns out, pressing Control C, then it keeps in your program. We don't really want to resubmit. I kind of just back. There we go. Yeah, form data. We'll put this in the here before I forget. It's in the So then when you submit, it makes the post request to the backend. So this is going to get called. Request.method is going to be post. We're going to get the value from there. Specifically, we're getting the something value, which is going to match up with the name that is on our input right here. So name something here means that we can pull out value something here. And then in our case, we put it inside this variable, we tuck it into an h3 tag, and gets stored as submitted value, which means it gets put onto the page. Whereas when, you know what's in, oh, okay. I see. I was just about to say, you know what's interesting is why does it not show this part on the GET request? But this makes sense. We have this tertiary or whatever this is called, basically. I guess it's just comprehension of if statement, but it functions like a tertiary in JavaScript a little bit. Okay, cool. So let's try the other one. So I did plain text that time. Let's do form data. Maybe let's try to trick it up a little bit with like some weird stuff in it. Make sure it's not going to try to like treat that as a, ooh, interesting. It did try to treat it as a, an actual, no, it's still a byte string though. I'm really surprised that that rendered a, I guess it ignored the B and the single quote. So we could theoretically give it an actual thing, right? Back to form. That makes a difference, I'm not sure. Nice. I don't know if that matters or not, I guess. It might be worth doing like escaping. Or what? So form data returns either a form data or none. Form data was up here, the class. Really, I mean, it's more of an implementation. Like your app should probably do the escaping. Where's the actual get though? I am curious. Does it have any get? But I guess it's because it does this one. Get feel. Okay. I mean, you could maybe add it into here. I suppose it's ultimately like only could become problematic in this case where you are also taking whatever text the user gave you and inserting it into the HTML directly. If you weren't doing that part of it, then there would not be really any risk of people injecting HTML like this. Which feels like just kind of an application best practice more so than the library shouldn't let you, because I would assume if you... Actually curious, what does Django do? I always compare this back to Django because that's what I have the most experience with. Does Django do any escaping of your post data? Or does it just let you... Using Ajax to get SVG graphics, Django escapes all HTML signs. is outputting SVG. It escapes if you serve it as a string, but SVG equals XML, which means you could serve it. Yeah. In Django, that's probably, this is where this would take place in Django. It would be in the template. In Django, this string would be inside of a template, and you would use the render function with this template file, and then by default, any variables that are inside the template, which is what this is, are automatically escaped. And if you want them to be unescaped, then you need to use this inside of your template. You would use it like this, basically, something like this. In our case, this is not actually like a template engine at all. This is just a string and the format function. So if we ever had a more fully featured template engine, it probably would make sense that it would do the escaping when it's substituting stuff in a similar way. But in this example here, I think it's not really worth changing anything, I don't think. I think we just keep this. Most people are probably not going to think to inject anything on it anyway. And you're running it on your own thing. Okay. I end up changing here. URL encoded. URL encoded. This one may not, this one might actually break it. I don't know. Yeah, because it got URL encoded, it no longer works. So if we did like back to the simpler one, should have pluses or %2fs or something. Oh, interesting. That's still. Oh, was it back on plain? I think it might have been back on plain. There we go. Okay, pluses. What is the difference between multi-part and text plain? I guess is it only to do with if you have more than one? Is it if you have more than one input, or is it the format that we are sending data to the backend? Form data. Oh, okay. Yeah, I recognize this. This is like the boundary thing. Although it's interesting, it's using this random, seemingly random looking number as its boundary instead of the word boundary or anything else. Okay. Then this will be what? That's this one. Oh, okay, so basically plain text is probably most similar to the top one, URL encoded. The difference being any characters that aren't URL safe got encoded. So pluses. Yeah. And then plain text, it gives you the exact same thing that you put in. The middle one is definitely the most different. What else did it say was changed? Form posting looks good to me. Multiple servers. The header thing. Okay, so if we run the multiple server example, we should be able to see the headers from each one be different on X server. Home and office and bedroom. And office and bedroom will have different X server headers. On 2 different ports. You know which one's which though? URLs also. Bedroom server is on 5,000. So X server right here, X server bedroom. Office. 8,000. This one ready to go. Flow from the office. X server office. And then there's actually a third one for home, which is on the bedroom server, which is at port 5,000. So that should also still get X server bedroom, I think. Oops. Yeah. Form data we looked at. Form data example we looked at. Server headers we looked at. Doc strings are more verbose. Doc still built. Oh. What's up with these random yellow lines? It's weird. I have no idea what the yellow sections are. Single thing. See anything? Huh. Just like that on the live one? There's a few HTTP servers in the world. Yeah. No, that is weird. Seems so random. Like sometimes it's multi-line, sometimes it's single line, sometimes it's on the from imports, but this one doesn't. So I don't really see any specific that have to do with the @ signs, maybe? I don't know. Junked? I'm not sure how to test that one. Is there a modified example? It says headers, access control, allow all. Form data, that's the new example. Multi-server we looked at. I feel this should probably be either or. Like maybe one of these should be commented? Because right now it's going to try to do it twice, isn't it? It will fail for one of them. It's because there's two different ones. Is this neat? Or I just set the wrong URL. I guess I went to the base URL, but it should be maybe this one. The GET request, or this one. It's expecting query params. Okay, we don't really have a form to post with, so we would have to use something else to send a post to test that one. Could do this. Get us to here, but by default it will be black, which is off. That it would set it to yellow. This one here. And it does look like that's working. Okay. That's looking mostly good to me. The form data is really the only thing that I noticed that could use a tweak. The timing, I didn't really see anything that made me think it was for certain any slower, so I'm guessing maybe you just had some flakiness on the Wi-Fi, like you're saying. I know, like, at least with my Wi-Fi, Sometimes it's faster, sometimes it's slower. I definitely see that from day to day and even throughout the day at different times and stuff. I think we'll wrap it up here. So thank you everybody for watching. Over in the YouTube chat, Jackson says, I'm 3D printing a dark saber. Was just wondering if I could use normal LED strips over the skinny ones. If I kind of squash them in. 3D printing the dark saber. So I'm not familiar with that project specifically. Let me see. Is that a thing on here? Saber build. I would say the short answer definitely is that I do not know for certain. My guess is that it may only have enough room for the skinny one. But I don't know that for a fact. But that is probably my guess. So I would say probably if you are printing the files unmodified, I would recommend probably trying to use the same strip, the skinny strip. I can't say for certain. There is maybe some chance that a bigger one would fit, but I don't know, and I would not be surprised if it didn't. So to be on the safe side, I would probably go with the same one that they quote in there, the skinny one. Okay, I will wrap it up there. Thanks everybody for hanging out. Thanks for everyone in the chat. If you are interested in more content like this, if you would like, you can come back tomorrow morning. I will be streaming over on my own channel, FoamyGuy_Twitch. I will put the links in the Discord channel when I get started in the live broadcast chat channel. So yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll be working on some more stuff. I'm not entirely sure what is on the docket for tomorrow, but I'm sure I'll find something interesting. So join me then if you would like. Otherwise, I will bid you farewell for now. Don't forget, if you are a regular in the CircuitPython community, we are taking the day off on Monday, so no meeting on Monday. So we'll be next week is our next meeting. Just a reminder on that. But for everybody else, I will see you later. Thanks for hanging out, and I hope you all have a good evening. Good night.